how to unlock UI in crazy mode like Daniel Park in real life. There's a moment in Lookism that stops everyone cold. You know the one. Daniel Park, the kid who started as nobody, the kid who got pushed around, humiliated, treated like background noise in his own story, suddenly becomes something else entirely. The hesitation vanishes, the self-doubt goes quiet, and what's left is pure, undiluted focus operating at a frequency most people never access in their entire lives. They call it UI, they call it crazy mode, and the first time you see it, you think, that's fiction, that's anime logic. That's not something that lives in the real world. I'm here to tell you that you're wrong. Not metaphorically wrong, not inspirationally wrong in that soft motivational poster way where everything gets dressed up in pretty language to make you feel something for 30 seconds. I mean, you are factually, demonstrably wrong, because the state Daniel Park enters in those moments has a real name, a real mechanism, and a real pathway that any human body can travel down if the conditions are right and the work has been done. The question isn't whether it exists, the question is whether you've built the foundation to reach it. Let's start with what UI actually is when you strip away the animation and the visual effects and the dramatic music. At its core, it's a complete quieting of the internal noise. The fear, the second guessing, the awareness of consequence, all of it drops away and what remains is pure present tense operation. Psychologists have studied this state for decades. Athletes call it flow. Fighters call it being in the zone. The science calls it transient hypofrontality, like a temporary reduction in activity in the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for self-monitoring and overthinking. In plain language, the part of you that hesitates shuts off, and everything trained into your body takes over completely. That's UI. That's crazy mode, and Daniel doesn't unlock it through luck. He unlocks it through suffering that accumulates into something useful. Here's the first real-world key. Your body has to know the movements before your mind can let go of them. This is non-negotiable, and there are no shortcuts around it. Daniel's crazy mode is only possible because his fundamentals have been drilled so deeply they no longer require conscious direction. When the thinking brain goes quiet, something still has to operate, and what operates is everything you've repeated until it became automatic. This is why the basics matter more than anything advanced you'll ever learn. You cannot flow through movements you're still figuring out. You can only flow through movements that have been absorbed completely. So if you want your own version of UI, start by making your fundamentals so familiar they feel like breathing. The second key is pressure exposure. Daniel doesn't access his deepest state in training. He accesses it when something real is on the line, when the cost of failure is immediate and personal. This is important because a lot of people train in comfort and then wonder why they can't perform when the environment gets hostile. Your nervous system learns what you teach it. And if you only teach it how to perform when everything is controlled and safe, it will lock up the moment the situation stops being controlled and safe. Seek discomfort deliberately, train when you're tired, spar when you're not ready. Put yourself in situations where the stakes feel real enough to produce real pressure, not recklessly, intelligently, but consistently. Because pressure exposure is how you build the wiring that crazy mode runs on. The third key is the one nobody wants to talk about, emotional fuel that gets refined into focus. Daniel's most explosive moments are never random. They're always triggered by something that matters. Someone he's protecting, something he refuses to accept, a line that cannot be crossed. The emotion doesn't make him sloppy, it makes him ignite. And that's because underneath the chaos of the moment, his foundation is solid enough to channel it instead of being consumed by it. Find your anchor. Find the thing that, when everything else is noise, cuts through completely and tells you exactly why you're still standing there. That anchor is what separates a fighter who activates under pressure from one who dissolves under it. UI isn't a gift, crazy mode isn't a cheat code, it's the endpoint of a process, foundation built through repetition, nervous system hardened through pressure, emotion refined into fuel by a mind that knows exactly what it's fighting for. Daniel Park started as nobody. He built the foundation brick by brick in the dark, in the losses, in the moments nobody was watching or cheering or documenting for anyone else's consumption. And when the moment came, the switch was already there. You can build that switch too.